Let's try that again. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another interview leading up to the first Sacer Events Rival Battles series that we're going to be holding on the channel here. I'm joined by Superior and Brobey ahead of their matchup in Sonic Story. So you two, both of you, how are you doing today? Soup, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Nothing to really complain about today.
No, not much to complain about. Good, good. Like to hear that. And Broby, how are you feeling?
Gotta be honest, same here. Just nothing to complain about. Just
Just,
living. It's
just
nice.
casual kind of vibing like that. Like to hear that. So both of you, obviously coming up against each other on this in Sonic Story, both very, very close to each other on the board, right next to each other, I believe, actually, which is part of why this match came about. But let's sort of start off there, shall we? Obviously, Broby, in comparison to Superior, you're a much more experienced face on the Sonic Story scene. So, talk to me a little bit about your history with Sonic Story and kind of what got you into it, what keeps you playing.
I first started watching like the Dreamcast runs with Icky back in the day,
Mm,
and it just got me interested to just keep going, like experimenting and also helping him like figure stuff out. And then I just quickly got into the game and both ran Dreamcast and DX, and it's just been fun.
mm. So you've been around for, what are we, am I right in saying about 2 or 3 years now at this point?
Yeah, close to like 2.5. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and obviously pretty respected runner on the scene. In terms of sort of where you are right now versus where sort of you want to get to, what are your current sort of goals? What are you kind of looking at in terms of how far you can push Sonic Story? I know you kind of turn up for the tournaments every now and then, but in terms of active grinding, what are you sort of thinking? Anything like that?
My end goal is just basically like a 30. That's really good.
Mm,
Grinding this game takes a lot out of me. So usually whenever I just find the chance to do it, and it's just a good time.
for sure, absolutely. And then Superior, over to you. So, as we said there, you're a bit more of a fresh face on the Sadix scene in general, not just sort of Sonic Story. You've only really started, well, last year now, would be correct in saying, but kind of still within your first calendar year of speedrunning. And
Yeah.
generally speaking, with Sadix, you've kind of dipped your toe into every avenue. But would you say Sonic Story has kind of been the deepest dip that you've kind of made so far?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like I dipped into everything because I did want to do all stories. I think it's just like an interesting category to like learn and like be good at to like grind for a good time. So it's such like a marathon run, but it's also like really cool in the sense of like every category kind of like has its own level of like BS that you like get to navigate through, and I find them like all for fun, barring like big maybe. So it's like I enjoy it, but yeah, no, Sonic Story is definitely the one like that I've had like of the like individual categories that I've had the most fun grinding.
For sure, yeah. And same kind of question to you. In terms of how far you want to push it, obviously I know you've been pushing it pretty far already. You've come to a 31 already, which is pretty incredible. Um, is there sort of an end goal for you in sight, or is it just kind of one of those things of push, 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 see how far you can
Um,
take it?
yeah, it'll kind of be just be like kind of like push, push, push. I won't be doing much recently just because like I've played a lot of SADX.
Mm,
So like I'm gonna be playing a bunch for like bingo. I still want to get the all stories goal, but for sure. So like in terms of like short term goals, there honestly like aren't many. I'm really happy with the 31, but for like long term goals, when I eventually come back to the game, because I will, I did, yeah, for sure, 100% at least a 30, at least.
yeah. And why don't you kind of give just a little bit of background about sort of your relationship with the game, I guess, really, in terms of how you got into speedrunning in general, I guess, rather not just sort of Sadix. Obviously, you've dipped into SA2 a lot this year. It's been pretty impressive seeing your rise.
Yeah, no. So yeah, for me, yeah, it was like I had like watched like like GDQs and stuff for like years and stuff, but I hadn't like actually like started like speedrunning myself, and it was something that I always wanted to do, but like I was really busy with like life stuff, and then like generally if I had like a hobby kind of thing, it was like with fighting games. So it was like I would do like music stuff, which already took a lot out of me, and then like my friends and I would grind a ton of like fighting games. So like I just didn't really have the chance. But then like over like COVID time, I kind of like took like a big break from like music stuff, and just in general because like I wasn't doing school or music. I had a lot more time on my hands. So I was like, oh, I will finally try speedrunning, and that was it took me a minute to like actually still try because I was still just kind of like procrastinating and shit. But like it was like because I got in like December 2021 or yeah 2021, so it was like at the very tail end of 2021, and I like so the recent GDQ was SGDQ, and that was the Katie
Yeah.
Hero Story run, and that run is really really cool. And so
That's
I
kind of
was
what
like,
took you
oh
in that
yeah,
direction.
I forgot. Yeah, I was like, man, like this game is super sick. This game looks really cool, so I wanted to do it. So yeah, I started with SA2, and then like like obviously like after like HST, then I got to like meet a bunch of like the Sadix people because like Alpha, Scoob, and Refrag all came in and like learned Hero Story for the tournament, and I was like watching their streams, and I was like, oh, Sadix looks really cool too. So it was like watching Refrag do like Sonic Story and watching Alpha do All Stories. I was like, I actually would want to run these categories. So yeah, then after HST was done, I was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And Scoop kind of like helped me through it.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously coming on in with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of eagerness, so that's always good to see. So over to you, Brobey. Obviously coming into this match, going up against Superior, what has been your sort of thoughts looking on? Because obviously made a big splash, made a lot of noise with just how quickly Superior has improved. What has that been like for you in terms of seeing? What do you think of Superior just as a runner and as an opponent? Is it going to be a tough matchup for you?
Yeah, definitely. They've just like been pushing it, and I just want to like get practicing again because it's scary. Like
Sure.
they just popped out of nowhere. It felt like they just kept going. I'm like, oh, okay. So
And going up against Superior, obviously neither of you crossed paths in the Sonic Story tournament just gone. I think except for that BTRL day. But you did come ahead, you did finish ahead of Superior in that one. In terms of sort of going up, is there going to be that sense of maybe unfamiliarity, or is the recent experience with sort of the SST is that still fresh for you? Are you still going to feel pretty good coming into a race format? What are you sort of thinking there?
I really don't know.
Not
That's
sure
all
on
I'm
that
gonna
one.
say. I
It's
really don't
unpredictable.
know. Anything can happen with this game.
That's 100% true. And I guess I'll flash over to the same question for you, Superior. Obviously, came off a decent SST run, not bad at all. And are you still kind of feeling that freshness, or have you kind of, you're kind of going into this with just that kind of casual fun excitement? It's a fun race, or is there kind of that show yourself sort of thing?
Yeah, no, it's kind of like it's again at this point, it's not really like a kind of like prove yourself thing in a way. Like it's just kind of like, oh yeah, like there's this, it's like I really wanted something like this where you just like take runners that are close to each other in terms of like this event, and like just kind of like have like a random thing where you do like either once a month or once every 2 months, and just kind of like show off like every game and like the storylines within the games, and like highlight people who are grinding it out and like grinding it out together. So I'm happy that this kind of event exists. So obviously I'm just want to put my best foot forward, obviously, and just kind of do it. But yeah, in terms of how the race is gonna go, I don't know. Yeah, like Brobey said, this game, anything can happen. This game is very volatile. So I mean, I just hope that I can continue to play well and not explode.
Yeah, and you mentioned there about, obviously, this event being all about matching up runners who are pretty close to each other in terms of skill, in terms of quality, in terms of PB, etc., etc. Going up against Brobey as an opponent, again, obviously, as we mentioned, you hadn't quite clashed with each other before, not come across each other in a race setting. But what do you sort of feel going into it? Are you expecting a tough matchup? Obviously, quite close together, but what sort of are your general feelings about going up against Brobey?
Yeah, again, like we are very close together. Both, I want to say, we even like basically like placed around the same as well.
I think
Where
so.
I think we both got ninth because I think Brobey lost to Scoob and I lost to Spacebar. And so like if we both won our matches, I think we would have had a chance to play there.
Yeah,
Enough.
correct,
Oh,
actually.
definitely.
Yeah, you were so close.
So yeah,
Good
I mean,
point.
yeah, like we're really close. I mean, it's definitely gonna be super tough. Like even like Brobey's races within the tournament, like both of us were pretty consistent with like our average time. So I mean, yeah, 100%. This is gonna be like I'm hoping for like a good match and like a banger. It's gonna be tough.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I'll stick with you then, Soup. In terms of, again, quite recent, but in that sort of recency, what have you sort of felt have been your major strengths when running Sonic Story? What have been the things that you found to be most consistent, your sort of differences? I know you generally approach these categories, particularly in race settings, with a bit more of a safer play. Is that going to be the kind of angle that you're coming into this as a one-off race, or is that going to kind of shift up a little bit? What are you thinking?
Yeah, 100%. I'm, the just actual like baby strat master. That's all. That's like all I ever do. So it's like I'm definitely really like happy with my consistency. Like I feel like and again like I said, Brobey's really consistent too, so which is why it's scary. So like even if you have the one off, it's just like man, like Brobey's definitely capitalizing on it. But I mean, what like as I've been doing like the all stories grind after SST, like I've just been able to like consistently just like bang out 32s, just off rip, not a ton of resets, just like. And so like it's been able to like let me kind of like get all stories runs going more often. So I mean, for something like that, like having that kind of consistency throughout an entire like 30-minute, like obviously like 32, 31 minute Sonic story run for us, it's like, I'm pretty happy with that, and I hope I can like continue that if we were to do a race.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Brobey, same sort of question to you then. Obviously, Soup there talking about the consistency angle sort of coming in with a bit more of a safer approach. That's not really the same sort of thing for you. I know, obviously, you're kind of, maybe not to the same extreme, I should say, maybe more so, because Soup known for those safe strats. Is that going to be something that you feel like you can maybe take advantage of, going in with that little bit more slightly, I don't know what the right word to use would be, maybe just deep approach in terms of going for the harder strats or anything like that?
Yeah, it's really fun to just go all out and just try it. And if it messes up, you just know you tried it. But like going for baby strats, like I don't know a lot of backups, so just if he's taking it safe and I just mess up one thing, that's just a huge lead. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
going to be one of those. So it's going to be a battle of consistency versus risk, I guess, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
And so, obviously, in terms of sort of what we got going on here with this sort of series, with the rival battle series and whatnot, obviously we're looking at introducing title bouts and such. Obviously, Sonic Story for each of you, obviously, all due respect, both very high quality runners, but in terms of a title shot, I think maybe both of you would probably say that might be a little bit of a tough one just for now. But in terms of sort of general aspirations towards it, going up against those top level runners in any particular category, is there sort of something for either of you that you feel like you could really push? Any sort of particular category for yourself that maybe people should keep an eye on you with? I'll start with Soup.
I think like within like the most recent times, probably not, but I do think that I would want to like push for like at least close to a record in like at least say like Hero Story.
Mm.
Like that's kind of like, it was like that category where I feel the most at home. It's like my favorite category, and that's definitely like the next like hard grind category. Like I say recently now because I just like I want to kind of take a break from both SATX and SA2 and kind of like learn some other games just because like
Sure.
I do kind of want to like kind of dip my feet into other stuff speedrunning wise and just but I mean like when I come back to SA2 like I kind of like I really want a 22, so like obviously I'm probably gonna like push for like that like top 20 top 10 kind of thing, and maybe if I feel like it push for 21, so then definitely kind of within that like top of the top contender
Break through
thing.
that
So that's
ceiling,
kind of like
you know?
yeah, so that for sure at some point, but yeah, no, recently, like, it's just like if I'm in here and I'm a part of it, just kind of like vibing with people, then that's all I can really ask for.
Mm. And the same thing for you, Brobey. Is there anything in particular that you sort of feel is sort of on the horizon at the moment? Is there any sort of like high lofty goal that you're aiming for, trying to sort of maybe battle it out with the top runners in any particular category, or is it kind of in terms of adventure
No,
stuff?
vibing.
Just vibing. We can respect that. Like that. We're here for the vibing, just as equal as we're here for the competitiveness. We need the vibes, Without the vibes, we're nothing.
Or nothing.
We're nothing without the vibes. But yeah, obviously, another thing would be, as we mentioned, both of you competed in the SST. Both of you have competed in a fair few tournaments, actually, at this point. So, bit of a different approach here coming in versus, a tournament. You've got a lot of matches, you've got a lot of things you've got to prepare for, that grind, that sort of almost daily kind of, what's the next match, versus taking that and comparing it to just a one-off race between the two of you. Is there a different kind of approach? Is there sort of a different sort of practice style, or when you're jumping in there, are there going to be things you'll do differently? Brobey, will ask you.
Yeah, I'll definitely go for it. Like I always try to go for it, but never works out in the race. No, but yeah, I'll definitely try to go for it if it comes up. If I have enough lives, if you know what I'm saying.
What are we talking about? Sorry.
Hmm?
What are we talking about? Sorry.
Did you not say lol skip?
No, I didn't say lol
Oh,
skip. But
I thought you said lol skip.
no,
Okay, I'm out of it.
I just mentioned like, is there a difference in like the approach with a
Oh,
one-off race versus a tournament? But I mean, hey, there you go. It looks like we're gonna go for lol skip.
how do you
We
feel about lol skip superior?
I have like literally never attempted it.
King of the baby
Good.
straps. You know,
I've
you're
only-
asking the poor guy about lol skip.
Yeah, I've never even attempted it. It's just there.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. You know, Broby's talking a big game. We can expect the lol skip now. So lock it in. But
At
yeah,
least one.
so back to the original question being, is there a difference for you, Broby, when it comes to a one-off match versus that sort of grind of the tournament? Is it kind of more of a free you know, shackles off kind of thing, maybe?
No, just try and go. See if
Same
it
kind of
works.
vibes?
Yeah, if it doesn't
Understandable.
work, then just keep practicing.
Absolutely. And then Superior, same kind of thing to you. Obviously, you've probably been a bit more active on the tournament scene lately, but with one-off kind of things, is there a different kind of mentality going into that for you?
No, I kind of view them in my brain as very similar, where it's just like you really only have one chance, like no matter what. So like obviously in a race, like in a tournament, like there's generally either like group stages or like double elim or something like that. So you technically have more chances, but like for that race, like you're not going into a race being like, well, I mean, like already almost losing, especially if it's say like, me versus Brobey, where it's actual like coin flip, like you literally don't know. Flipping a coin would decide better than if people were just predicting. Where
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, oh yeah, it's literally just you're like going in expecting that you can win, but obviously that it could go the other way. So it's just kind of like it doesn't really change for me because no matter what, you really only get the one shot. Like if I'm
Sure.
going up against Brobey in a tournament, then it's like, oh yeah, this is like my one chance to get Brobey. And if I lose, then it's like, okay, whatever. It's the same thing with this, where it's like, yeah, obviously I could get him back in another rival battles if we did it, but it's like it's kind of that similar thing for like the lose. It's just that, I have to wait a month or two as opposed to waiting like a day or two if I even get that far in losers bracket to get him again.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then the next thing would be, obviously you've got that, and so looking forward to that. Would there kind of be anything, obviously you've mentioned about rival battles, just there, and obviously the new series coming up. Full card, obviously we got a main event, we got a lot of other matches coming up. Is there anything on that card in particular that either of you are looking forward to in particular, as just a spectator, or in general? I'll ask you first, Soup.
Oh, 100%. Lab vs Focus, the title bout match.
Oh, yeah?
Like I think that's probably one of the most exciting title bout matches you could have picked because it's like a new school versus old school like silver kind of thing, where it's like Focus is like super duper like he was there for a while and like Lab was kind of like slightly newer on the scene, but then also like Focus hasn't been playing the game for a while. Focus has not been playing 06 that much. And I heard from Lab that he was recently thinking about getting back into it again and trying to push for record again. And so this is going to be a really cool thing, even though he's likely going to be a little rusty. I think it's going to be so cool to kind of see Lab, who's currently pushing for record right now, versus Focus, who has had record multiple times, obviously doesn't have it now, but who's going to like start pushing for it, and the kind of like two different silver people going at it. So that's cool to me.
For sure. And dare I ask for a prediction?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, honestly, like again, because it's silver NCW and Focus is likely going to be not as like in tune with the game as Lab is, like you almost have to kind of give Lab the advantage there. It's just silver NCW as a category.
It's one of those too close to call kind of things.
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Like if you were to ask Lab would be like Focus gets the advantage 100%, even if he's rusty. But Silver NCW is a weird category, and you kind of like it really is anybody can win. But again, Lab being more comfortable with the stuff, I feel like I'd have to give him the advantage.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, looking forward to that one, the main event. 06 making its kind of race debut on the Sacer channel, so that'll be great. Hopefully, get a good showing for that. Get some eyes on that. And then Brobey, same thing to you. Is there anything on the card that you're particularly looking forward to?
Yeah, I always love watching Team Rose. So free fall and Mikey racing is just gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, obviously the Rose LTS tournament. Those two, we'll hopefully have an interview from them later. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good one for sure. And then probably again, I would ask you the same thing. Is there a prediction there?
Gotta say free fall. He's the homie.
Okay.
He knows what's good.
Joey.
Back to Joey. Joey Nation, alive and well.
Joey Nation.
But there we go. All right then, guys. Well, thank you very much for hopping on into this interview. It's been a real pleasure. And I would just kind of let you sign off. Do you have, both of you, just one final message to your opponent before things kick off on February 11th? Brobey, anything left to say to Superior?
Good luck, and I hope we can stay rivals. That'll be fun.
And then Superior, anything for you?
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. GL and it would be a big, it'd be fun to kind of have this rivalry just kind of continue, especially if we were to if we're both grinding down to 30, maybe it'll be not even just within the rival battle race who can get to 31st. I don't know. We'll see.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. That sounds fun.
We're seeing things brewing, and I'm liking it. But we'll see. February 11th, that's where you want to be. Don't go anywhere. Just watch it on live on Sacer. Hopefully everybody will look forward to that. And yeah, thank you both again for joining me. If you want to say one more thing to everybody to sign off.
Don't miss it.
No.
Don't miss it. Don't miss it. All right then, gamers. Thank you very much. And we'll see you all back here on February 11th. Goodbye.